Why does PS4 refuse to die? Alex, why does the PS4 refuse to die?
I don't know. Was that like Sarah Connor? Like that kind of scream, like "Why can't you die?" It just refuses to die due to how many were sold, and I think a lot of people who just really do not go on from their core game rotation of Warzone, Fortnite, FIFA, or not, whatever they call it now, FC25. I don't know.
Yep, that's correct. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, they just don't move on from that. And as a result, those were always such core franchises, especially Call of Duty. You had your Call of Duty, you had your Madden, and you had your FIFA for a long time. And it was just like, these are the games that sold every year, even though it was like the release of almost the same game every year. And I think those people are of a certain age and just don't move on, and they don't see the reason to move on because the game still comes out there. If it stopped coming out there, then people would move on, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's availability of games, right? And there are those games that are, just perfectly fine on a PlayStation 4. Fortnite is perfectly fine. I'm sure, likes of Rainbow Siege, as you say, FIFA always tends to run pretty well. So, for those type of people, why should they move on? I also think, credit to the design of the hardware. They produced a fantastic console for 2013. And if you look at what we're dealing with the PlayStation 5 and the current generation, it is, obviously there's a lot of great advantages to having those consoles, but, it does require the developers to make use of them. And we are looking at fundamentally more of an evolution rather than a revolution in design principles compared to what the PS4 was doing. PS4 just got so much right. Oliver, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the PlayStation 4 is a huge platform. It sold, I think, about 120, 115, somewhere in there, million units. It's a ton of consoles out there. That's about twice as many consoles as the PlayStation 5. Certainly very, very many more consoles than the Xbox Series machines. So that does speak to a very large market. I do still wonder, like I said earlier, exactly how many new AAA, single-player-oriented games that are on PlayStation 4 are really selling. I do kind of wonder about that, because even though the platform is huge, is that audience really that plugged into the latest and greatest, or are they enjoying their Fortnites? Are they enjoying their Overwatches? Are they enjoying their FIFAs, the various live service titles? Is that what they're interested in? But I think from the development side, like you said, there are a lot of games where the team is maybe a bit smaller. They want to work with established technology, and the PS4 as a console they can work with and produce a good enough experience. And on the other hand, you have something like Jedi Survivor, which really, probably it's a little bit too far, but we'll have to see about that one. Mm-hmm. I also think there's another factor in this, which is just like, a game getting released today might have started to work in 2017 or 2018, 2019. These are years in which the PlayStation 4 was the dominant platform. They might have had to start development work on a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One as a lead machine or as a primary machine that we're going to ship on. The games that might be released today might have slipped for a couple of years, and it might have been a more reasonable thing to target a cross-gen release in 2022 instead of 2024. There are tons of factors coming in here, right? Grand Blue Fantasy Relink released earlier this year. That was in development for 8 years or so. I don't think they were expecting to ship at all on a PlayStation 5, right? I think they were expecting to launch on a PlayStation 4. The fact that a PS4 exists, the PS4 version exists, is perhaps just a consequence of that extended development cycle. So yeah, I think there are a variety of factors in there, but I think probably the most important one is just like, you can ship games on it. There are a ton of players on it, and presumably they are selling, despite my concerns, right?
Mm-hmm. I think one final thing is, another question to ask is, why are these users refusing to upgrade? And I think the simple reason is, well, first of all, they don't feel they need to, but secondly, we've got an issue with the build cost of the current generation machines. It's just very, very high. And when you think about what they're doing, it's perhaps not surprising, because the overall sort of direction of travel has been that, in order to get a decent technological upgrade, you've actually got to invest more money to achieve it. And what this means is that you haven't seen the kind of price cuts that we saw with the PlayStation 4 generation. We're not seeing cheap consoles anymore. we're seeing PlayStation 5s that are still, you know, in the $450 to $500 territory 4 years on from release. We've had several product revisions, one major product revision on the PlayStation 5, and we still haven't seen like an appreciable sort of drop into the mainstream pricing territory. So what are these people supposed to do? I guess possibly get a Series S, but for whatever reason, they're not doing that in volume. And so, you know, I guess people are staying with their consoles. And, you know, if the likes of Fortnite and FIFA are still playing reasonably well, why should they upgrade? I guess that's the key point, right? Call of Duty, the new Call of Duty is coming this year. We've seen a big leak this week. Apparently it came from PS4 code. You know, so yeah, Call of Duty, another big game. Warzone, another big game. You know, all of these games are running okay on PlayStation 4. Not okay, perhaps, from a Digital Foundry perspective compared to what you could achieve elsewhere with new consoles, but still appreciably decent enough, I guess, to stop people from, you know, laying down $500 for a new console.
Right.